Hello, my name is Ellen Embury, and I'm here today with my law partner, Rachel West. Together, we own Canada's largest fertility and surrogacy law practice. I've been practicing law for about 21 years, which is sometimes a bit of a scary thing to say out loud. And I've been specializing in fertility and surrogacy law for the last 15 years. Certainly the best thing that happened in my practice was that Rachel joined it about 8 years ago. And together we are really fortunate. We've been lucky enough to help thousands of same-sex couples, heterosexual couples, singles, achieve their goals of creating a family through egg donation and surrogacy.
And through all of those conversations with clients, we have had several introductory calls, thousands of introductory calls. And at this point, we've realized that the topics are very, very similar in each one of the calls that we have with our clients. And so we thought it would be helpful to shoot a video which allows you to get a sense of what we are going to talk about in an introductory call, and which gives you a sense of what questions you might want to think of in advance, and also to give you a sense of comfort so that you understand what we're like and what we'll probably talk about and the information that you can depend on us for.
I do want to emphasize it is very important to both Rachel and I that you feel comfortable and supported in this process. We'll normally schedule the introductory call to last maybe half an hour, maybe an hour, but it's important that you know that there are no time limits. We don't charge for introductory calls. It is very, very important to us that you feel supported, guided, comforted in this process, and that hopefully we can demystify it a little bit for you and make it not so scary.
Yeah, we generally will talk to clients about the 3 steps or the 3 legal steps of the surrogacy process. And those steps are going to be a little bit different for each client because everybody's situation is different. But generally, they will take on these 3 steps. So step 1 is generally creating your embryos. Sometimes that will involve an egg donor. Sometimes that will involve a sperm donor. But it will always involve a donation agreement, which we will help draft. And so what we want to talk about in step 1 is what questions you might have, what to expect in the egg donation or sperm donation agreement. Step 2 of the process, once you have those embryos created, is that we want to transfer them to a surrogate, hopefully. And so step 2 of the process is drafting the surrogacy agreement between you and your surrogate. And in that call, we will address all of the concerns. We will make sure that your needs and interests are reflected in the agreement. Once we have the surrogacy agreement, that's time for transfer. We cross our fingers and hope that your surrogate becomes pregnant right away. And then step 3 of the process is going to be what happens after your baby is born. So what is the process for obtaining birth certificates? If you are an international couple, what is the process for obtaining a passport so that you can get home? So those are the 3 steps that we will generally cover. But of course, you are going to have your own interests, questions, concerns, and we are happy to go through those with you and give you a level of comfort.
I love lists, and I find that I often say at the beginning of one of these introductory calls, I'm going to go through the top 4 questions that we usually have, and then of course open it up to the clients to let us know if I've missed anything. So question number 1 is always, what will our birth certificate say? The answer is that you and your partner, if you have one, will be listed as the parents on the birth certificate. If you are a single intended parent, and we do have lots of single intended parents, usually male, you will be the only person listed on the birth certificate. It is not legally required or in most cases desirable to leave the surrogate on the birth certificate. There are always some exceptions, but those exceptions revolve around laws in other countries, not Canadian law. So in Canada, the birth certificate is going to list you as the only parents of your baby. The method by which we get there depends on the province that your baby's born in, and we'll talk about that in some detail on our call to make sure that you understand that. The second question that we always get, and this one I always get a bit of a laugh out of, is how long do I have to stay in the province or in Canada after the birth? Do you want to address that one, Rachel?
Yes, so it's going to differ based on whether or not you are coming into Canada from outside of the country or whether or not you're already a resident in Canada and just traveling to a province where your baby is being born. In the event that your baby is being born out of province, but you are a Canadian resident, you really only need to be there for the time of the birth and for a couple of days after birth to sign some paperwork. So it's a very quick process before you can return home to your home province with your baby. If you are an international intended parent or an international couple who is coming from outside of Canada to collect your baby, we generally say that you can expect to wait around 2 to 3, sometimes 4 weeks after the birth of your child. So that will depend on the province where your baby is born, but generally plan for 2 to 4 weeks that you'll be in Canada.
I would add to that it is our personal goal at all times to get you home as quickly as possible. And so it is something that we consider a challenge, and the faster that we can arrange for your birth certificate and your passport, the better we feel that we've done our job.
That's right. Our personal record, I think at this point, is 10 days.
7.
7. See? So we have a little bit of a competition between us as well as far as how fast we can get you home.
That, of course, would apply to internationals. If you are Canadian, you can sign some papers and travel home within a day or two of the birth if you choose to, obviously depending on your comfort level with traveling with a newborn. The third question that we always get is about insurance. This topic will really only apply to international couples. What you need to know is that your surrogate's healthcare is 100% covered by her provincial healthcare plan. Your baby's healthcare, on the other hand, is going to be your responsibility. Just because a child is born in Canada, they are not automatically entitled to Canadian healthcare. And so we will walk you through that on our introductory call, and we'll refer you to insurance resources so that we can be certain that you have proper insurance coverage to cover baby's healthcare costs.
One of the biggest concerns that intended parents have, Ellen and I smile about because it's actually one of our least concerns, and that is the question, what happens if the surrogate tries to keep my baby? So I think we need to address that right away, get that problem solved for you. The answer is your surrogate will not try to keep your baby. And I can say that with almost certainty because Ellen and I work with surrogates sometimes. And the number one question a surrogate will ask us is what happens if the intended parents don't come to collect the baby? Generally, a surrogate who comes to you through a reputable agency already has her family established. She has completed her family. She knows what it is to have a child, and she is not interested in having your child or keeping your child. What she wants to do is help you to have a baby. We have never in Canada had a surrogate attempt to keep an intended parent's child, and I believe firmly that it is because of the good work that we do and agencies do in establishing both laws that say that she cannot keep your baby, but also in establishing relationships where it is very clear that that is not her intent.
I would echo what Rachel has just said, and I would just emphasize that particularly because in Canada, the vast majority of surrogates are going to be is that she does not have a genetic link to your child. There are differences with traditional surrogacy, where she does have a genetic link, and we actually have a separate video to talk about that.
So those are the general topics we will talk about in the course of our introductory call with you. We look forward to getting to know you, hearing your questions, and helping you work through what seems like a very complicated process. Our goal is to simplify it for you and to make sure that you feel comfortable and supported throughout.
So please click on the I'd like a free consult with Ellen or Rachel button on our website, and we look forward to connecting with you.